Kiki ma ma ma. Welcome to Masters of Horror, the Revenge of the Cult Film Showdown. I am Jim Cotta, hosting this wander through the Masters of Horror TV series that ran in 2005-2006, featuring some of the greatest directors and writers of horror. And we're going through every episode of this very short-lived 26-episode series. And I am joined by Nick Boxer.
Hey-o, I'm here and not wearing pants.
Like most of the characters in these episodes.
Yes.
And we are also joined by Jolly Jack Hall.
I'm here. I'm wearing pants, but no underwear.
Mm.
See, that got the reaction I wanted.
I'm going full Winnie the Pooh, so just a t-shirt. All right, our episode.
If anybody's left, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean that's the most horrific opening we've had.
Yeah, that's scarier than the episode was.
And actually sort of appropriate because there is a pretty unsexy I'm not wearing panties line in this.
There is. It is the least sexy declaration of I'm not wearing panties I've ever heard. All right, episode 6, season 1, Homecoming. Now, Jack, tell us who our masters of horror are for this tale.
Well, this is based on a short story from Dale Bailey, who's one of those speculative fiction writers who has written like 100 million short stories, but nothing you would know. You know, like from like Nightmare Magazine and things like that. Different amazing stories. Things magazine, things like that. Like he's just a very prolific guy, but nothing overly famous. But it was adapted by a much more famous name in Sam Hamm, who wrote the 1989 Tim Burton Batman movie. That would be his. He's a guy with, surprisingly, when you look him up, very few credits, which is
I noticed that.
Very a massive surprise. But the main master of horror is the man who directed 1978's Piranha. He directed The Howling, the original The Howling. He directed Gremlins 1 and 2, and that is Joe Dante. And he is a director that over the years has probably not gotten his due, as a wonderful mix of, consistently plays homage to 1950s films and science fiction films and horror films and that type of thing. Mixes in a lot of humor. The big surprise in this, the guy who's not here in this, I think this might be the only project that Joe Dante ever did that didn't have this actor in it, is Dick Miller.
Joe Dante was one of the Corman guys, right?
Well, yeah, he came from the Corman. He started there. Writing credit on Rock and Roll High School and the such. So, or actually, no credit on it, but he helped write it. I mean, it is Corman. So yeah. No, he's he's long been one of my favorites.
Definitely has a pedigree, that's for sure. Sam Hamm, I was also surprised when I looked up to see his credits, how small they were, considering Batman alone. It's possible that I don't actually know what he's been doing. Maybe it's books or something, which obviously doesn't list on IMDb. I know one of the big projects he did was he worked for quite a long time on adapting The Watchmen, and it's a version of the script that never made it, obviously. But that was a long project, and if you can turn up that script, it's worth a read just for how a different an approach it is.
Insane.
What was that?
Insane, I think, is the word you're looking for. He wrote an official sequel called Batman '89, for DC Comics like a year or so ago. Um,
Oh, nice.
he's, I mean, if he does have books, I can't find any listing of them
Hmm.
either. So I mean, he just
Yeah.
doesn't for some reason. I mean, he had
I
Batman,
mean,
which
if
was a major hit.
yeah,
He had Never Cry Wolf, which was at the time 1983 was a major hit. I mean, it's not like he's in one genre. Maybe that's his problem. He created the Mantis TV show, I believe.
yeah, he did create Mantis. Yeah,
Oh.
and his career seemed to stall out when he wrote Monkey Bone, which I think destroyed the careers of pretty much everyone involved.
And deservedly
Took a
so.
I mean, if he had back end points on Batman, he'd never have to work again anyway. So uh, I will I will say I'm going to take this opportunity to apologize to Sam Hamm because I hated him for years for something that's in that screenplay of Batman, and I discovered recently that the having the Joker be the killer of the Waynes was not in Sam Hamm's script. It was added later. So
Interesting.
sorry for having put your name to that crime for so long, Sam Hamm.
There are so many things you can hold against Batman stuff, right? in those series, and that's what you pick on.
Oh, that's what I despised. Having the Joker kill the Waynes. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like a bit of a push to me too, but
Yeah.
But I mean, you survived the Schumacher years, so.
Well, I'm not going to hold that against Sam Hamm.
I am. If he doesn't write such a good script that is so successful for Batman 1989, we don't get Batman and Robin. It's his fault.
Nick,
either way,
what happens in Homecoming?
I would love to do like a detailed plot analysis, but this doesn't have a detailed plot. This is propaganda at its finest. Military veterans start to come back to life as zombies, to vote, not eat brains, and the political right goes batshit crazy. We got an analog of the Fox network, and we got an analog of George W. Bush trying to save his presidency. It's entertaining. It's fun.
You call it propaganda. I call it social commentary.
Okay.
And satire.
I'm good with either description.
I think I would agree it is satire, but I would also agree that it drifts pretty far into propaganda. This is people talk about politics being divisive now, and people being melodramatic about politics now. If you're old enough to remember the 2004 election and how sure the the left was that they were going to beat George W. Bush, like they were crushed when that election didn't go for them. Like it just wrecked the morale of the Jon Stewart was just short of crying when the next episode of Daily Show that he did. It just it destroyed the radio network that had been built up around Jeanine Garofalo and those folks.
Yeah, Al Franken.
What was that called?
What was it
called? Yeah, Free America or something like that.
No, it wasn't that. But it'll come to me.
But I mean, it was becoming a thing, and then after the election, it's like they just became irrelevant, because clearly they were speaking for the minority in the country, and this feels so much of that time of just the anger and disappointment of the left after that election.
There is no attempted subtlety in this whatsoever.
Oh God, no. All of the Republicans are basically mustache twirlers and amoral. The woman Jane Cleaver, who is
I love her.
She's I mean, to me, she's a Ann Coulter analog. She's a leggy, attractive blonde who just has no ethical center.
Air America Radio.
Air America, thank you. Yeah, so and like spin masters, basically. Like that's our lead character. That's his job. He's a talking head for the Bush administration. They don't use his name, but they do have a portion of someone who sounds. I don't know if it's an actual clip. I think it's someone mimicking the voice.
I'm pretty sure it was a mimic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this takes place like this would be what September, I guess October of 2004 is when this takes place. I think they say something at the beginning, but I can't remember because it's early voting is when the dead start walking. And yeah, like the heavy-handedness of this just made me laugh over and over. It's because it's just so cartoonish in how like evil the other side is. It's the other side can't just have a different way of seeing things. They have to eat babies. Which is where we are with the modern world.
I love the part where, well, a couple of the things that, like I said, I thought it was hilarious. Wonderful satire, if you ask me. I love the part where they're sitting there and they're on the show one week and they're sitting there going, the dead can, because they think the dead are all back because they're soldiers. They assume they're all going to vote red. Yeah. And so they're like, oh, the dead are bad. Freedom is on the march again. And then when they found out that they all have come back and are voting Democrat, well, we got to lock them up. This is just not right. They're dead. They shouldn't be allowed to vote. Like,
I thought the televangelist was the funniest, so funny. Where he goes from these are soldiers of God to something unholy is coming here.
Yeah. Oh, that was hilarious.
It is such a perfect satire of spin, though, that just that idea of taking cognitive dissonance as a job. The truth must be that the president's right. So whatever the facts are, we'll adjust them.
I mean, it's about as scary as a jelly sandwich, but that wasn't what it was going for. And it's worth noting, the wonderful 4-episode streak of tremendous nudity is broken, which is a shame because there certainly was opportunity.
There was.
Oh, don't worry, we got Deer Woman coming up. We're
Oh, okay.
I expect we'll get back there,
but we'll get back on that horse.
What it is a biting satire. No pun intended, because no zombie bites. They do talk, which is unusual.
They talk. They drive vehicles.
They do. They have a lot more skills than.
Yeah.
I do like the passage after they discover that these guys are voting. They discover that I was wondering how they were going to do it, and it's that one of the soldiers just says that we're all voting anyone but the president. Because I'm like, you can't open the secret ballot, or like, you're
the whole point
that's
is
almost
they have come back because they were lied to about the Afghan war. That's the whole thing. Is that the Afghan war was based on or the Iraqi war, I suppose. Sorry.
The Iraqi war.
The Iraqi war was.
They just say the current war.
The current war,
wars, or something like
so
that.
The Iraqi war, though, that was based on a lie.
Yeah. And
then they've died, and they're bitter for having died, so they've come back to cast a vote for the other side, to hope that to fix that wrong.
The war, yeah.
And
there is a passage that I thought it was interesting that they do throw in a line of why there's not that many soldiers back, because they only say there's like in the hundreds or
200,
something
I
like
believe
that.
Is what they say.
Yeah, and it's a strange. It doesn't hold up to math, but it basically they say that if you died in that war and you believed in it, then your soul is at rest. So that's why those folks haven't come back. It's a strange thing to imply that only 200 soldiers out of the thousands and thousands who died in that war had a problem with it. But that's just where they go.
Well, more do come up at the end when their votes don't get counted. And that's the part that this is the
Yes.
part of the whole thing that blew my mind. I'd like to repeat this isn't 17 years ago. 17 years ago. There's a scene where she goes, we're not going to let where the Ann Coulter type character goes, we're not going to let them steal the election. Then he goes, the lead character says, well, they didn't steal the election, they won it fairly. And she goes, well, we count the votes, so it's not going to be that way. And I'm like, steal the election. In 2005, they're using it. And that's what everybody's talking about now that the election was stolen. B, they're setting it up. And, there's a portion of that party that is setting it up currently so that they can count the votes, so that they can steal the election so the other side doesn't steal the election again. And the fact that this was, I'd like to repeat, 2005 meant that this is like Nostradamus never nailed anything like this. It was incredible.
Again,
It was amazing.
the level of villainy, like the cartoon, the Scooby-Doo type.
Well, that's it. They're thinking this is Scooby-Doo cartoonism, and that this will never actually happen when they're stewing it, and now it's real life.
I'd like to get clear that you're stating that it's a zombie movie and it couldn't actually happen.
I agree that the spin doctors are the scariest part of this. Like the zombies are actually,
they're the true monsters. Is the point?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That I've met the enemy and it is us. And I mean, it is. There's another, cartoon villain bit where Robert Picardo is playing like the boss of our main character. Just says flat out, like we sold that war. Like it was a horseshit war and we just sold it. I mean, the implication that everyone went along with that and they weren't just wrong.
This probably has the best cast of any of the Master of Horror so far.
It is a strong cast, yeah.
Well, and that brings us to Canadian spotting.
Oh yes, the Canada spotting in this is fantastic. Marty Clark, the host of he's the host of a talk show, but he constantly talks about how the media is so skewed.
But he's actually, him being the idea is that he's the host on a liberal network, but he's bringing on these conservative guests.
Yeah. But he talks as if he's independent of media. This role is played by Terry David Mulligan, who is a broadcasting legend in Canada. Has done. He's also a prolific actor.
Prolific. I looked it up. 937,000 roles.
He was
never for more than 5 minutes on screen ever.
Very prominent in the Vancouver pop culture, movie making, TV making. So he did, as we've said before, there's going to be an X-Files, there's going to be a Smallville, there's going to be a whatever. If you are about my age and you grew up with access to Canadian television, Terry David Mulligan, best known as the host of Canada's first music video show called Good Rockin' Tonight, which he hosted in the mid '80s, and at my age, that was so key at my, like, I was at the right age to have seen that. I was like 12, 13 when that show was on. The golden age of everything is 12. So despite him only hosting that, I was surprised it was only like 3 years that he hosted that for, two or three seasons. He's still that guy to me. For every other time I've seen him, he's the host of Good Rockin' Tonight. Canadian treasure.
He qualifies as Canadian treasure, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you in Minnesota had access to Canadian TV,
Yeah,
so
I was able to
you have
watch
talked about
CBC
this
from from there. Yeah.
this television show to me before, Good Rockin' Tonight, and that he was the coolest man to ever live because he was the host of that show.
He was yeah, Good Rockin' Tonight was it was like a Friday night video show, and before there was before the around the time of MTV in the US, but the Much Music didn't come for a little while later. So that was the only way that you
What's
saw
Much
music
Music
videos in
there?
Canada. Much Music's the equivalent of MTV. Um, and they have about 18 brands, and I think one of them even plays music videos now.
Really? So they're just
much like
completely.
MTV.
Oh, MTV has a brand that plays music videos? Huh? Who knew?
I think so. Yeah, I think there's like I think it's a premium channel, but
Must
there
be.
is one that still plays music videos. I mean, yeah, music videos are just a YouTube promotional tool now. The idea that they were a separate thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, videos are still being made, but yeah, YouTube.
This I really enjoyed this episode, and I think you got to keep the tongue firmly in cheek for this one. And if you do lean to the right, it would be interesting to watch this just to see how cartoonish the far left sees you, because it's the same way you see them.
They're so much more cartoonish than Marguerite Taylor Greene or whatever her name is. I mean, Lord knows the people they have in real life, they're not cartoonish at all now, on either side. Both sides are just like the characters are cartoonish as hell.
That's true. That's true. It is.
So it's not really that much of a stretch. It's just that it's only showing the one side. But yeah,
I did wonder if President Trump had seen this and said, why don't we go this direction?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the most impact this actually had, though, was the second season of horror. A lot of the directors sort of went, "We can do that." And there are a lot of political and philosophical statements made in the second season, as opposed to just horror stories in the first.
I could hear the soundbite. The soundbite came to my head as I'm watching the spin of them doing the when they realize that they're not voting for the president. I could hear President Trump in my head saying, "I like soldiers who don't die in the war."
I think the line was, "I like soldiers who are captured," because he was talking about John McCain.
Yeah,
but yeah. I mean, yeah, that's pretty accurate too.
I knew I was paraphrasing. Yeah, but there isn't an ending to give away per se in this, but the last 2 minutes has a little speechifying in it, and the last shot is one of the funniest things I've ever seen on anything, because it is. I love when an ending is so insanely serious that it becomes hilarious. And so our very last shot, we see 3 zombies as that classic image of the Minutemen with the drummer boy and the one carrying a flag. The Revolutionary War image. And I just laughed so hard.
Oh yeah. To me, as soon as I saw that, I thought, that's Joe Dante right there. Like that's just his humor coming through right there, as it does many times in the episode. I mean, this episode was lauded by some people on the left as the best film of 2005. So again, take it for what it's worth. I mean, regardless of what you're see it for. To me, I see it as commentary on both sides. It's commentary on screen of people on the right, social commentary, and it's commentary off screen of people on the left thinking this about the people on the right.
No, it's creative. It's fun. It's not pretending to be anything else.
I think that this one will stick with me more than the other episodes we've seen so far, because it is a political time capsule. It is such the it is just the zeitgeist
It is.
of the time it came out in. Yeah,
and it's not scary, so it doesn't get mixed in with all the horror, which kind of starts to blend together.
Is it not scary
out.
because you've lived it already? I'm just saying. I mean,
could be that.
If this was a brand new thing, if we were watching it back, 15, 20 years ago.
Well, again, we'd be sitting there saying certain lines that would never happen. That is about to happen now. The American political system is broke from the ground up at this point, it seems. If it was bad in 2005, it's gotten worse. It's amazing.
I found this very enjoyable. I'm glad we saw this one.
Yeah. Lorena Bobbitt, is that her name, or what is her name? Bobart?
Depends on who you're talking about. Lorena Bobbitt was the woman who got some revenge on her husband.
Something Bobart. That's the
Breitbart?
Bobart.
Is that who you're thinking of?
No, her name, I think.
The panty girl you're talking about?
I've lost track of what you're trying to find.
Well, some congresswoman, Lorena Bobart or something like that. Yeah, she's again just a cartoonish character, real life. As is Al Franken, just a cartoonish character.
That's true. I'll give you that one too.
We needed Al Franken in this, and that would have been great to have Al Franken in this.
Oh yeah, he was doing the serious politician thing by this point, and this would have been right in his wheelhouse. Because it is just Franken's a great example of the other side of this.
That's it.
Nice.
United States representative.
I used to be able to remember all the House representatives, but now they've gotten so many more since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Just to be able to say all 500 of them. 384 of them. All right, well let's close this up. Any last thoughts on Homecoming?
Hilarious.
It is hilarious.
Laugh at both sides from this one. Laugh at the one side off screen, laugh at the one side on screen, and just remember, we're screwed. Out of 10, if 37 out of 53 equals a 9 out of 10, and 16 different cars with 14 different tires on each car equals a 3 out of 10, then I give this an 8.56 out of 10.
I'll give this a solid platypus.
I'm going to give this 4 Robert Picardos out of 5.
4 Robert Picardos out of 5. Okay.
All right. Well, we've all been really enjoying Masters of Horror, our watchathon of this 2005-2006 series, and next up for us will be Dear Woman. That's DEER. Dear Woman.
Never thought about it the other way. Watch that too.
And so we're hoping you're listening to these as they get posted, and we're working our way towards Shocktober. But I think we'll probably keep going with these long after Halloween happens, because these are really fun.
We're having a
They're right
blast,
in.
and I'm just thinking to myself, I can't wait till you do it for the next episode, because you need to now score things out of 5 every time, but it has to be out of 5 bald guys, out of 5 a different bald guy every episode.
Challenge accepted. All right, Cult Film Showdown is on Instagram and on Patreon. Support our work. Watching shows so that you can talk, you can have someone talk about them after, and get some laughs, whether you like the movie or the show or not. We're here for the laughs part. And we are sponsored by WeTalkPodcast.com. They have a Twitter, they have a Facebook, and they have a fantastic website that features tons of other great podcasts, as well as our full archive. And for Nick and for Jack and myself, we'll talk to you next time.